Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. We're your quick daily roundup of the posts that are actually trending. We're cutting through the noise, spanning tech, culture, and some pretty major global debates. The goal here is to move fast, extract the biggest insights from today's feed, and get you up to speed.
Exactly. We're not just reading posts, we're connecting the dots for you. And we've got a fascinating mix today, from deep space mysteries to the ethics of the super elite.
Okay, let's jump in. First cluster, tech. And we're starting way out there, the edge of the solar system. This is from @NASA. Quote, "We've just released the latest images of the interstellar comet 3I, as observed by 8 different spacecraft, satellites, and telescopes. Here's what we've learned."
And the first thing that hits you is how the public saw this. They see a blurry photo and kind of question the tech.
Right, like that's all you got.
Exactly. But it's 19 million miles away from Mars. The real science here, the key takeaway, is its speed. That high velocity is what confirms absolutely that it's from outside our solar system.
Okay, but if the trajectory is so clear, why is someone like Harvard's Avi Loeb still floating the idea that this thing might be artificial? That feels like a huge leap.
It is a huge leap, but it persists because of one tiny nagging detail in the data.
Right.
So while the trajectory points to it being a natural object, maybe 8 to 10 billion years old, back in July, they detected a surprising chemical signature.
Which was?
Nickel vapor. Nickel vapor usually suggests some kind of processing or manufacturing. So for some researchers, that single anomaly is enough to keep that Oumuamua-style speculation alive. It forces them to consider it, even if, most everyone agrees is probably natural.
One little detail is all it takes. All right, let's bring that down to earth. Let's talk about the power needed for all this new tech. Here's a post from @SawyerMerit. He says, Elon Musk's xAI is installing over $375 million worth of Tesla Megapacks at its new Colossus 2 supercomputer cluster in Memphis.
This is it's a colossal investment, and the scale is what you need to focus on. We're talking 1.5 gigawatt hours of energy storage.
Which means what, in practical terms?
It means they can run their massive AI training operations completely independent of the grid. That's a huge deal.
And here's where the story gets really interesting, because this isn't the usual data center drains the city's power narrative.
No, at all. It's the opposite, actually. This setup is designed to improve power reliability for the whole community. They store excess renewable energy when demand is low.
And then they pull from their own batteries during peak training.
Precisely. So this isn't just about power storage for them. It's a new model. It shows how big tech could actually become a utility supplement, which is a total reversal of the usual dynamic.
Sticking with xAI, their ambition is galactic. Here's Elon Musk with a pretty major announcement. Grokopedia, which will be renamed Encyclopedia Galactica when it is at least slightly deserving of the name, is a major project at xAI. This is intended to be a massive open-source repository of all knowledge about the universe.
I mean, the scope is just breathtaking. They want to use Grok to build something that's more accurate, more comprehensive than Wikipedia, covering text, audio, images, video, everything.
But the really wild part isn't just collecting the knowledge. It's how they plan to protect it. This is some serious long-term thinking.
It really is. They're explicitly talking about the destruction of the Library of Alexandria. They want to prevent that from ever happening again.
So the plan is what? To back it up on a hard drive?
Yeah, a bit more than that. They're planning to distribute physical, decentralized copies of the entire encyclopedia across the solar system.
Oh, of course they are.
Right. But there's an irony there. The ultimate open-source library of all knowledge is being collected, curated, and then distributed by one single private company. That raises some questions about bias down the line.
And the engine behind all this just got a huge boost. Edviji Eric announced this. We just dropped the best tool calling model on the planet, powered by our new Agent Tools API with direct access to X data, web browsing, code execution, and more.
This is a really big performance jump, especially for what they call agentic tasks.
Meaning the AI figuring out what to do on its own.
Yeah, exactly. Knowing whether to browse the web or run some code to get you an answer. And the context window is now 2 million tokens.
Put that in perspective for us.
That means the model can hold on to the context of roughly 1,500 pages of text at the same time. You could feed it a whole textbook or a massive legal case in one go.
So how does it stack up against the competition? The benchmarks are always where the fights are.
And they are stark. It scored a perfect 100% on a key telecom benchmark that tests complex real-world tasks. That puts it ahead of the latest models from GPT and Claude, and they've apparently halved their hallucination rates.
Wow.
It's an aggressive move. And the kicker is the model and all these tools are free to use through the API until December of 2025.
Okay, last one in the tech cluster. Let's talk about the people building all this.
Yeah.
Trying to. At Luke Metro, posted about a job listing for an OpenAI research scientist 2022 start date.
And this post just perfectly nails the economic trap the Bay Area is in right now.
The job's been open since 2022.
For a salary north of $500,000 a year. It's been open because there's a serious, persistent shortage of this elite-level AI talent.
But the Post puts that right next to the housing market, and that's what makes it so sharp.
Absolutely. The Post points out that there are dozens of buyers looking for $4 to $7 million homes in San Francisco with zero listings, just nothing available.
So you can have the $500,000 job, but nowhere to live.
And that's the vicious cycle. The insane cost of living is actively stopping top talent from taking these jobs, which keeps the positions open. It's a huge supply chain problem.
A human supply chain problem.
Right here.
Okay, let's pivot. From high prices in tech to high prices in entertainment. Segment 2, culture, celebrity, and public discourse. Kicking off with this question from @OkYoungOx. What is the best word to describe this dude? And he's talking about Burna Boy.
Right. This is all about that huge controversy at his Denver concert a couple weeks back. He stopped the show to eject a couple because they looked like they were sleeping.
And then he said something that just poured gasoline on the fire.
Oh, yeah. He quipped that he only wants fans who have money.
Oof.
And the reaction just split right down the middle, mostly along class lines. Critics called him elitist, entitled. But his fans, a lot of them defended him, saying, be present.
But there's a context here with the ticket prices, right?
That's the real issue. VIP tickets for that show were over $500. And when you pay that much, it changes the whole deal. Fans feel like they bought the right to be there, engaged or not. And the artist, in this case, feels like he bought the right to demand that visible energy. It becomes purely transactional.
The transaction gone wrong. Okay, moving to politics. Here's a great bit of political satire from @RedSteez. He posts, going to be using this one a lot, and it's referring to a request from NYC's mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani.
The irony here is, it's perfect. So Mamdani is a very prominent Democratic socialist. He's known for his pretty strong anti-wealth rhetoric.
And now he's asking for donations.
Small donations, yes, for his transition team because the public matching funds have run out. And to be fair, he's raised over $1 million for more than 12,000 people. It's a grassroots effort.
So what's the satirical angle?
The satire is in the perceived contradiction. A politician who critiques systems that rely on private capital is, relying on private capital to fund his political operation. Even after he's won, the replies were filled with memes of, Karl Marx reluctantly holding out a donation cup. It just highlights that tension.
Okay, from political memes to meme law. So the funny one about digital ownership. From @DanandToel, it's a dialogue. So you created a viral meme format that generates endless ad revenue and didn't even watermark it. Yes, Dave?
Hey, yeah, this is a very meta post. It's basically a satirical cease and desist from the guys who actually created the viral Dave meme.
Oh, the serious-looking podcaster guy. I know that one. It's everywhere.
Exactly. It blew up in October, and this post just perfectly captures that classic pitfall of viral content. The second they released that template, without a watermark, without any kind of IP protection, they lost control.
It's open source now, whether they like it or not.
Completely. It spread like wildfire. So this post is just them, humorously acknowledging that the only thing you can do at that point is issue a fake cease and desist.
All right, let's wrap up culture with some sports. A post from @Erling Haaland just says, I remember this name, huh?
And what he's sharing is this old tweet from 2018 when someone was hyping him up as a breakout star in Norway. It's a little nod to how far he's come.
But the timing of this post is everything.
It is. He posted this just days after the 2025 Ballon d'Or rankings came out.
Where he placed 26th.
26th, after scoring 52 Premier League goals last season. So the contrast is the whole point. He shares this nostalgic, look how far I've come tweet right after getting what many people feel was a really disappointing result in a major award.
It's a subtle way of making his case.
A very effective way. It just amplifies the whole debate. Are the award criteria actually aligned with real-world performance anymore? It's him reminding everyone of his stats without having to say a word.
Okay, let's move into our final segment. Ethics and global safety. We're shifting from debates about awards to some really serious risks.
Yeah.
This one's from @MrMexi, and it's a heavy question. Why exactly is NYSC still posting people's children to high-risk regions? Why are you sending someone to Borno State?
This is a critique of Nigeria's National Youth Service Corps, the NYSC. It's a mandatory one-year program for university graduates. It was set up back in the 70s to promote national unity.
And Borno State is a very high-risk area.
Extremely. It's a region with ongoing serious risks from the Boko Haram insurgency. So this post is tapping into this long-running, very intense debate in Nigeria about whether this mandatory program is still relevant or safe. It really highlights a massive systemic failure in risk assessment.
And there was a detail about a handbook they give to the participants that is just chilling.
That's the part that's truly unbelievable. The NYSC, the government body, published a handbook in 2024 that included instructions on how to survive captivity.
They're giving them a kidnapping survival guide.
Yes. When your mandatory national unity program is handing out guides on how to survive being kidnapped, it tells you everything you need to know about the level of risk the government is knowingly asking its young people to take on.
That's deeply troubling. Okay, last post. Let's look at accountability at the highest levels. From @Kobisa letter. Breaking. Larry Summers announces he is resigning from OpenAI's board amid the release of his emails with Jeffrey Epstein.
So Larry Summers, former U.S. Treasury Secretary, a huge name. He was on the board of OpenAI. He resigned after a House committee released emails between him and Jeffrey Epstein.
And these emails were recent.
They were post-2017. And they contained some pretty inappropriate and sexist comments. That led directly to his resignation.
So, connecting this to the bigger picture, the resignation is the fact. What's the broader critique that's coming out of this?
The broader reaction you see in the replies, in the discussion, is about the lack of real consequences for powerful people in Epstein's network. The sentiment is that a board resignation, that's the maximum punishment.
Slap on the wrist.
That's the feeling. For billionaires and elite figures, a resignation is seen as the end of it, rather than the beginning of any real criminal accountability. The perception is that the penalty just doesn't match the severity of the connection.
What a dense day. We've gone from interstellar comets and plans for a galactic encyclopedia to survive civilizational collapse, all the way to the very real safety risks of national service and the ongoing debates about elite accountability.
And that really raises a final thought for you to chew on as you go about your day. Think about how much of our knowledge and our future is being shaped right now, whether it's the latest Grok model, the energy infrastructure being built, or the historical record xAI wants to preserve. So much of it is being determined, controlled, and stored by the very few tech leaders and private companies we just discussed. So the question is, what does that concentration of power mean for the ideal of universal, unbiased access to knowledge?
Definitely something to think about. That's all for today's Daily Vibecasting. We'll catch you next time.